My husband told me he cheated because of my unattractive underwear. I'm 35. He's 36. We've been together 4 years. Married for less than 2 months. I thought we had a good marriage. Normal arguments. Nothing serious. He never complained about anything. Ever. Our intimate life was great. He told me all the time. He used to text me at work things that made me blush at my desk. Last Friday I only had a morning meeting. My manager let a few of us leave early. My colleagues and I got lunch, then we all headed home. I walked into our bedroom and found him there. With someone else. The door wasn't even fully closed. I didn't say anything. I didn't scream. I just stood there for maybe 2 seconds, long enough for my brain to register what I was seeing, and then I turned around and walked straight to the elevator. He couldn't follow me. By the time he figured out what to do, I was already gone. I spent the weekend at my brother's place. My brother and his wife didn't ask for details. They just knew he cheated. That was enough. Monday morning my husband showed up at my brother's door. He knocked and begged to be heard. My brother asked if I wanted him gone. I said no. I wasn't in shock anymore. I figured I should at least hear him out. My brother took his wife and their son out for brunch. The apartment went quiet. My husband looked like he hadn't slept in days. Red eyes. Wrinkled clothes. He wanted to hug me the second he walked in. I told him to stay on the other side of the kitchen island. Don't come closer, or I'll scream. He stopped. Put his hands on the counter. Stayed put. He started with an apology. Stumbling unclear. Then he explained why he cheated. He said I never made an effort for him. I always wore comfortable underwear. Never anything sexy. It turned him off. It made him feel like I didn't care. There was a long silence after that. I just looked at him. I asked him why he never told me. Why he never bought me something different like a lot of guys do. He said he didn't want to hurt me. By telling me my underwear was boring. That was his reason. I still don't fully understand that logic. So you didn't want to hurt my feelings. So you slept with someone else. He didn't say no. He just stood there and cried. I tried to remember what she was wearing when I walked in. I couldn't. Everything went blurry the second I saw them. He asked what I wanted to do. Said we could fix it. Asked if I wanted to know more about her. I cut him off. I told him I needed time to think. That wasn't true. I'd already decided. I just wanted him to leave. He left. About my underwear, I wear cotton. Neutral colors. Mostly Calvin Klein's. I have a large chest and anything structured is uncomfortable after a full workday. I don't feel unsexy in comfortable underwear. I work out almost 2 hours a day. I'm confident in my body. And this man was with me at least 4 times a week, telling me I drove him crazy. That I could turn him on just by looking at him. Was all of that a lie? I don't know. I still don't know. And why now? Why not 2 months ago, before we got married? Now I have to find an attorney and start a divorce process I never thought I'd be going through 2 months into a marriage. A few days later I spoke to a lawyer. An annulment wasn't an option in this state. The grounds are almost impossible to meet. So I filed for divorce. My attorney said it could take anywhere from 6 months to over a year depending on how ugly he wants to make it. My husband was furious. He said I decided too fast. That I didn't really hear him out. He texted me saying he couldn't believe it was ending like this. That the last time he kissed me he didn't know it would be the last time. Right. A few hours after that kiss he was in our bed with someone else. My family wasn't exactly on my side either. My brother said I could stay as long as I needed. That I didn't have to make rushed decisions. That hurt more than I expected. My mother-in-law called several times. She apologized. Asked how I was doing. Then asked whether I thought a marriage under 2 months entitled me to any of his assets. He owns the condo we lived in. A few rental properties. A small cabin out of state. We're in a community property state, but my attorney said assets he owned before the marriage are trickier to claim, especially with a marriage this short. I honestly don't feel like I'm owed half anyway. But I needed to understand where I stood. Then a package arrived at my brother's place. My brother and his wife were out. I opened it alone in the guest room. Lingerie. My size. Lace. Expensive. I sat on the floor and cried for 2 hours. Not because it was beautiful. I don't even know exactly why. I just couldn't stop. When I stopped, I realized what he was doing. He was angry. He'd regret it. I packed a bag and went to my best friend's place. I told my brother not to tell my husband where I was. My brother could see my eyes were swollen. He didn't push. I just told him my husband did something hurtful and would probably try to apologize once he calmed down. That same evening, my husband showed up at my brother's door asking for me. I had over 50 missed calls and messages. I didn't read any of them. I put my phone on silent and called out sick from work. He showed up at my office the next morning too. A lot of people told me to burn it. Or cut it up. Or mail it back. I almost put on that lingerie and posted it to Instagram. I almost did it. Instead, I posted a story in my Calvin Klein's. Face cropped out. Beyoncé's Cozy in the background. As for the lingerie, I'm not burning it. I'm not returning it. The next time I'm with someone, I'll wear it. A few days after that, I called my husband one last time. I told him to contact my attorney going forward. He asked to meet in person. I said no. He said he saw the Instagram story. That he was sorry. That he always found me beautiful. That it was never really about the underwear. I said I know. He apologized for the package. Said he was angry when he sent it. Asked me to throw it away. Said I was beautiful in anything. I told him I'd wear it the next time I was with someone. And I'd think of him and thank him for the confidence boost. He went quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I guess you deserve that. What would you have done, kept the lingerie or thrown it out? Now let's move on to the next story. I cheated on my wife and I already regret it. My wife and I have a good marriage. 5 years together. 2 of them married. No real complaints. I never thought I'd cheat. I'm not the kind of person who does that, or at least that's what I always told myself. Last week I was on a business trip. 3 days in a city I'd never been to. Long meetings, bad coffee, eating dinner alone at the hotel bar every night. By day 2 I was already tired and ready to go home. That's when she sat down next to me. 21 years old. She started talking, then flirting, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. I'm in my late 30s. I've got a bit of a dad bod starting. When someone that young looks at you like that, really looks at you, something happens to your brain. I felt attractive in a way I hadn't felt in a while. Not because my wife doesn't make me feel that way. She does. But this was different. It was new. And I think that newness was the whole thing. We talked for maybe an hour. Then she suggested coming up to my room. I thought about it for maybe 5 seconds. Then I said yes. The whole walk to the elevator I kept telling myself this was exciting. Something different. Something my wife would never know about. By the time we got to the room, that feeling was already starting to fade. I just didn't want to admit it yet. The whole encounter felt empty and disappointing. She just laid there. Occasionally struck a pose she seemed to think looked good. That was it. She wasn't present. She didn't seem to care whether I was there or not. At some point, I realized I was doing the same thing, just going through the motions, not really there either. I kept thinking about my wife. Not in a guilty way at first. Just my wife would never do this. My wife is completely there when we're together. She talks to me. Tells me I'm attractive. She grabs my face and looks at me like I'm the only person in the room. And here I was in a hotel room with someone who wouldn't even make eye contact. I stopped about 10 minutes in. Asked her to leave. She shrugged and left. No reaction. Which kind of proved everything I was already thinking. I stood in the shower for a long time after that. Not trying to wash anything off, just standing there. Then I got out, sat on the edge of the bed and called my wife. She picked up on the second ring. Asked how the trip was going. I said fine. She told me about her day. I just listened to her voice. I'm home now. I haven't told her. Part of me thinks she deserves to know. Part of me thinks I don't know what the right answer is here. I genuinely don't. Because here's the thing, nothing about what happened made me want anyone other than my wife. It just made me feel stupid. Really genuinely stupid. One person in the comments put it bluntly, you only regret it because she was bad. If she'd been incredible, you wouldn't have stopped. I've been thinking about that ever since. I'm not sure they're wrong. And that might be the most uncomfortable part of all of this. In the end, it didn't matter because she already knew something was wrong before I said a word. When I got home, I was quieter than usual. She noticed within a few days. Said I seemed off. She looked so worried about me that I told her everything. She didn't believe I stopped. She believed I slept with someone, that part she had no trouble believing. But stopping early, the encounter being what it was, she thought I was just building a softer version of the story to make it easier for her to forgive me. I showed her the original post I'd written online. Unedited. Written before I even got home. She read it slowly. Didn't say anything for a long time. Then she started crying. Then she said something I haven't been able to get out of my head since. I loved you so much. Past tense. I asked her, can someone really stop loving a person that fast? She said yes. She said it like she'd already thought about it. Like she already knew the answer before I asked. We talked almost all night. I offered therapy. She said no. I asked for a week to let her think. She said she didn't need it. She'd already decided the second I told her. We're filing for divorce. I sleep in the guest room. She keeps the bedroom. When I walk past our room at night, I can sometimes hear her watching something on her phone, just normal sounds, a show or something, and it hits me every single time. I still love her. I don't think that's going to change. If I could go back to that hotel bar, I would have finished my drink, gone upstairs alone, and called my wife before I fell asleep. That's it. That's all it would have taken. Do you think he was right to tell her, or should he have kept it to himself? Alright, here's the third and final story. I accidentally sent my husband a text that was meant for my coworker. About 2 weeks ago, my husband sat me down and told me he was leaving me for someone else. We've been together 15 years. Married for more than 10. We have 2 sons, 12 and 11. I built my entire adult life around this man and this family. And he sat across from me at our kitchen table and told me he'd met someone. The feeling that hit me was strange. I expected devastation. What I got was devastation mixed with something else, something that took me a minute to name. Relief. Mostly relief. We'd been unhappy for at least 3 years. Not fighting, not dramatic, just slowly becoming strangers who happened to live together. We shared a house and kids and nothing else. We stopped really talking somewhere along the way, and neither of us tried to fix it. So when he said it out loud, part of me thought, okay. Someone finally said it. He walked me through the plan calmly. The kids, the house, the finances. He said he'd found a 1-bedroom apartment nearby and would move out while we figured everything out. The house would stay with me and the boys. He'd been thinking about this for a while. He had a whole plan ready. When he finished, I was already an hour late to a work meeting. I called an Uber and went downstairs to wait outside. I remember standing on the sidewalk thinking, okay. This is my life now. My coworker Mark texted me, "You're so late, it's embarrassing." I picked up my phone to reply. At that exact moment, my husband texted me too. The screen switched. And without looking closely, I sent this to my husband instead of Mark. "Oh Mark, you have no idea. My husband just ended things, so that took a minute. Looks like I'm finally free. Tell you more when I get there. On my way." I need to explain that message because out of context it sounds terrible. Half our department had gone through breakups and divorces that year. We'd started joking that the office was cursed. Mark, who was still going through his own divorce, laughed one day and said it wasn't a curse, it was freedom. That became our inside joke. When I wrote "looks like I'm finally free," I was referencing that, not celebrating my marriage ending. My husband didn't see it that way. He called me immediately. I didn't pick up, I was getting into the Uber. He called again. Then again. By the time I got to the office, I had 6 missed calls and a string of messages. He thought I'd been waiting for this. That I was relieved he was leaving. That I'd been planning my escape while he was planning his. He refused to hear the explanation. That evening he told me he'd changed his mind about moving out. Changed his mind about the divorce entirely. Said he'd been planning to be generous in the settlement, but now he was going to make sure I walked away with nothing. I told him the most important thing to me was my freedom. Something in his expression changed. Like he suddenly felt humiliated. Like that one sentence had taken everything he thought he still had and stripped it away. He slapped me across the face. First time in 15 years. I stood there completely still. The room went quiet. I thought about calling the police, I even picked up my phone. Then I put it back down. I still don't know why I didn't call. I think part of me was just so shocked that I couldn't move. I walked to the other room and sat there in the dark for a long time. Later that night, I heard him crying in the bathroom. The next few weeks were strange. He kept apologizing. Kept trying to be close to me, physically affectionate in a way that felt completely wrong given everything. Like nothing had happened. Like I was supposed to just move past it. I found a new apartment. I move in 3 weeks. I'll file for divorce once the boys and I are settled. I told the boys myself because he refused to do it together with me. I sat them down one evening after dinner and explained as gently as I could that their dad and I were separating. That we both loved them. That this wasn't their fault. My younger one looked at me for a long moment. Then he asked if there was anything he could do to fix it. If maybe being a better son would help. I had to look away. I couldn't let him see my face. I hope they forgive us someday. I really do. My husband has been behaving strangely ever since. Still apologizing. Still trying to initiate closeness. He also mentioned that his girlfriend wants children, which is interesting because he had a vasectomy after our second son was born. I didn't ask how he plans to handle that conversation. Not my problem anymore. He floated the idea of moving her into the house after I leave. I told him to think about what that would mean for the boys. They're not ready for that, especially if the relationship is still new. He said I was jealous. I stopped arguing. Near the end of one of our last real conversations, he asked me where things went wrong between us. I thought about it for a moment. Then I said maybe nothing was ever really right. You hit your wife. It took 15 years for that to come out. But it came out. And I could never love a man who hits his wife. So maybe we were never quite right to begin with. He cried. And honestly, I think that was the most honest thing either of us had said to each other in years. Where do you think things went wrong with her, with him? Or was the marriage always broken from the start? Leave a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. There's a lot more coming.